Hello, and welcome to my first foray into the world of album rankings and reviews. And in this video, I'll be covering my favorite artist, one Robert Plant. Um, you know, perhaps best known to many as the frontman for Led Zeppelin. And while a Led Zeppelin fan myself, I'm more so a fan of his solo career, which I'll be covering in this video. I'll be doing a brief review and then rankings of said solo career. I'll be just holding up each album as I go along, and somewhere in the form of a box set you may have heard of called 9 Lives. So try to center it to the camera as best I can. For this video, I'm not going to rank them like in chronological order or rank his whole discography as a whole. For me, the best approach is to break it down into tier lists, and there will also be a sub tier list. More on that later. Yeah, basically I'm gonna do early studio albums, then later studio albums, and then collaboration. So said, the last category would fall into both his early and his later career. So I'll start with his early career, and that's where I meant when I said I would put a tier list into a tier list. I mean, his early career could, for me, be divided, in half. This would include his 1982 to 93 output, and so start off with his debut album, Pictures at 11. Second album, The Principle of Moments. And by his third album, Shaken and Stirred. And then in the latter part of his early period, I would put be the albums Now and Zen, Man at Nirvana, and Fate of Nations. So first, to break it down to those two lists, I'll start off, with his early solo career, the first 3 albums that I mentioned. There's to be Pictures at 11. Or I'm improvising here, so bear with me. Pictures at 11. This is probably his least known of his early solo albums, because he didn't tour to promote it. He wanted to build up enough of his own material to stand on his own before he would go on tour. He didn't want to ride on his past success with Led Zeppelin. And start off by saying, I always thought that this is what the closest to what Zeppelin might have sounded like had they survived further into the 80s, had Bonham lived and they carried on further. But so you have songs like Burning Down One Side. That was the big single. I like the sound. A lot of people say it has a Zeppelin sound. Um, Moonlight and Samoza, an pretty easy, kind of a night world feel to it. Pledge Pin, always like it's kind of hard to describe, a lot of this in detail. I'm trying to give a brief overview. Slow Dancer, probably my favorite on the album. It's its pacing and its instrumentation. You have Worse Than Detroit, Fat Lip, Like I Never Been Gone, Mystery Title. And on here we have the outtake Far Post, just would have made the album even better, my humble opinion. But yeah, good. I think a good start. One thing about this album that'll be a pattern with his first three albums. A lot of these song titles they bear little to no resemblance to the lyrics or subject matter. So moving on to Principle of Moments. This was perhaps his solo breakthrough. Favorite track on the album, probably the most commercial. Other Arms. Then of course you have In the Mood, probably the best known song from the album, one of his best known solo songs. Messin' with the Mekong, Reckless Love. Through with the Two-Step, Horizontal Departure, Stranger Here Than Over There. And kind of hard to break these songs down one by one, but I mean, if you've heard them, you'll likely remember them. Then of course Big Log, again, he doesn't say the term big log in the song, but if those familiar with Plant have likely heard it. Another favorite of mine, another fan favorite. Then the outtake Turnaround, again, I think it could have been could have only enhanced the album had it been included. So yeah, then you have his third album, Shaken and Stirred. This was caught a lot of fans by surprise. It was kind of expanded on the kind of unconventional song structure of a Principle of Moments, but kind of just kind of just did his own thing here. The album, you hear a lot of experimentation on here. Hip to Who, Callaloo, Callaloo, Too Loud. It's kind of a lighthearted number if you've heard it. Trouble Your Money, Pink and Black, and then of course Little by Little. Quite quite possibly one of, if not his best solo song. Or one of his best known anyway. Sorry, I think I forgot to mention this overview will be more subjective in nature, as a Plant fan and my personal opinion as far as ranking the albums and the songs. And you have Doo Doo, A Doo Doo, Easily Led, and sixes and sevens, another good number. I think a lot of fans, it's like their second favorite song on the album. It's easy to see why. It's the feel, the instrumentation, just a good song to close on. So yeah, his first three solo albums, he was still, like I said, first one, Pictures at 11, the closest to probably closest to his previous band, and that's just how I take from it. Principle of Moments, cross between more commercial sound and experimentation. We're Shaken and Stirred, he goes off on the experimental side, and it gives us a couple more accessible numbers. But to rank this category, for me, it'd have to be from bottom to top, pictures, principal, and then shaken and stirred. And I'll say right now, shaken and stirred would have to be my favorite Plant solo album. Take from that what you will. Takes all kinds. Uh, but yeah, I just like the album flows well. It's I just like its experimental side and its structure and just yeah, it's the one I could listen to all the way through, most likely. Moving on to the second half of his early phase, starting with Now and Zen. This is probably his most 80s sounding, coming out in 1988. Specifically late 80s sounding. Or I forgot to specify, backing up a little bit, his first three albums: Pictures at 11, 1982, Principle of Moments, 1983, Shaken and Stirred, 85. But yeah, catching up to 1988, we have Now and Zen. Heaven Knows, one of the better known songs on there. Dance on My Own, kind of a lighthearted number there. Tall Cool One, probably the big single from there. Famously, contributions from Jimmy Page and sampling of Led Zeppelin songs towards the end or throughout. The Way I Feel, good, reflection number. I think, very ethereal tone. Not sure what the term would be, but Helen of Troy, Billy's Revenge, Ship of Fools, Why, and White Clean and Neat. Perhaps maybe that's, if I had to pick my favorite on this album, it'd be White Clean and Neat. Then the CD only, it was a B-side, but it appeared on the CD release, Walking Towards Paradise. Good number. So yeah, follow that with Manic Nirvana. Probably his hardest rocking. This is his last. I'd say his last album that has like a more of a rock sound, kind of. Just by this time, he's touched on his past and his what he was best known for, and I think here he kind of revisits it the most one last time with Hurt and Kind, Got My Eyes on You, Big Love, S and Q, I Cried, She Said, Nirvana, it's a good fast number. Tie Dye on the Highway, one of my favorites on here. One footnote, the song samples recordings from the Woodstock concert. Kind of one would say it's about maybe that era in general. But curiously, I just this past summer I saw him live with Alison Krauss at the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, near the Woodstock concert site. Although he specified to the audience that he had never been there before. Anniversary. It's another good song, moving song. That not sure what the anniversary in question is. I don't know if he's ever specified. Mama Said You Cry in Your Sleep Last Night. Good Kenny Dino cover. Didn't know it was a cover until recently. Liar's Dance and Watching You. you know, and some good outtakes, Oompa, One Love, Don't Look Back, those are, kind of like the groove with One Love. And you have Fate of Nations. This is probably his most, probably the first of his, in his later career, he took, more of a spiritual tone or turn. This is probably his, has some rocking elements, but his first album to just, have elements of spirituality, and probably his most political to that time. Got Calling to You, Down to the Sea, Come Into My Life, one of my favorites. I Believe, 29 Palms, Memory Song, If I Were a Carpenter, another cover song, good song, not my favorite, but, Promised Land, Greatest Gift, Great Spirit, and Network News. It's a fast-paced song, Network News. It's a good, a good song. I just don't, doesn't really, I will admit, it doesn't really fit with the album's overall sound, though, but kind of an abrupt, fast number to end the album on. So, yeah, that would cover his, what I consider his early solo career. And, so yeah, from 93, 93, after between 93 and 02, he would, go on a couple of collaborations with Jimmy Page in the later in the 90s. That's part of the last category that I'll, the collaboration category I'll cover. But and that also falls within his later era, which we'll get into now. So yeah, start off with. So yeah, his later era. Was it Dreamland through 2002? Mighty Rearranger, 05. And, of course, thankfully I have separate CDs from here on. Band of Joy, 2010. Lullaby and the Ceaseless Roar, 2014. And Carry Fire, 2017. So, starting off with, Dreamland, his first studio offering in almost a decade. I remember when this came out. I didn't pick it up. I didn't buy it at the time, but I'd got, I wasn't yet familiar. I wasn't the fan of his that I am today back in 02. I was still trying to find my true musical tastes at the time, but anyway. Yeah, start off, this album it's pretty much all covers, which is why, it's, like, someone asked me, if I had to give up one of his albums or sacrifice one, this might be it. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it's just, I'm not, not a huge fan of cover material. I prefer when he has his own material. I'm not sure who. I don't remember the original artists of a lot of these songs. So you have Funny in My Mind, Morning Dew, One More Cup of Coffee. I think that's Dylan. Last Time I Saw Her, Song to the Siren. With My Train Fare Home, Darkness, Darkness. I know that was the big single. I remember seeing the music video when it came out, struck by its rather bleak tone, hence the title, I guess. I know Red Dress, Hey Joe, a traditional song covered by artists like the Byrds, but most famously the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Skip's song, that's a Yeah, I believe that's a Moby Grape song. I understand now he was a fan of Moby Grape and did a few covers, which is why I've been trying to search out some great material, see where he gets his, what plant himself likes and his influences. Uh, Dirt in a Hole, that was a bonus studio track, but yeah, again, good comeback of sorts. But like some reviewers, I feel like it, you know, does feel like more of a placekeeper at times. But that's just me. Again, good album, but it's not my top pick. Uh, yeah. Again, backing up. Forgetting, forgot to forgot to rank his second half of his early period. So real quick, I'd have to say that's probably harder than his first period. Maybe that's why I didn't do it initially. But off the bat, I'd say you know from bottom to top, uh, yeah, it is pretty hard. Yeah, yeah. I'd say probably moving upward now and Zen. Yeah, yeah, now and Zen, Manic Nirvana, and Fate of Nation. So my ranking for, I guess, like his early period goes pretty much chronologically, um, as far as when they were released. But anyway, getting back on track here. So yeah, second. This is probably his most spiritual, um, probably world music sounding. I don't know if you're going to call it. Uh, Mighty Rearranger, it's called, 2005. Um, Another Tribe, Shine It All Around, one of my favorites. Freedom Fries, another good one. Tin Pan Valley, All the King's Horses, The Enchanter. Takamba, Dancing in Heaven, Somebody Knocking, Let the Four Winds Blow. Mighty Rearranger, title track, good song. And Brother Ray, which at first you'd think is just a quick 1 minute jam, but well, it reveals well, if you have the patience, you can wait 10 minutes, it'll reveal a hidden track, one of those hidden tracks. But yeah, moving on, you got Band of Joy, 2010, perhaps takes their name from uh, one of Plant's early pre-Zeppelin bands, and I believe this is his second album. Mighty Rearranger, and this one was with his band. The backing band was the Strange Sensation. You got, again, a lot of covers, but I mean, just it's just because of the sound, the overall sound and instrumentation, the mood. I like this as far as covers material. I like this album better. So Angel Dance, House of Cards, Central 209, Silver Rider, You Can't Buy Me Love, Falling in Love Again, Only Sound That Matters, Money, or no, I'm sorry, Monkey, Cindy, another old-time traditional song. I've seen that one on some Civil War music collections. But Harm's Swift Way, Satan, Your Kingdom Must Come Down, good one. Even This Shall Pass Away, good good effort. I only wish I'd known about some of these when they first came out. I might have picked them up. But more on that in a minute, couple minutes. Next we have Ceaseless Roar, first of two with his next backing band, the Sensational Space Shifters, I believe. This is probably, Yeah, a lot of good stuff on here, for me at least. Little Maggie, Rainbow, Pocket Full of Golden, Embrace Another Fall. That's one of my favorites. Turn It Up, Stolen Kiss, Somebody There, Poor Howard, another favorite. House of Love, Up on the Hollow Hill, and Aberdeen. Or the cover's a little worn, I can't read it. But yeah, this is a good, in the feel, the mood of this album. A lot of catchy songs on here. Carry Fire, the second effort with the Space Shifters. This I got, when it first came out, when it first hit the day it hit the stores back in 2017. Hard to believe it's been that long. May Queen, trippy number to start off with. New World, Season Song, Dance With You Tonight, Carving Up the World Again, Away with Words, title track, Bones of Saints, Keep It Hid, Bluebirds Over the Mountain, duet with Chrissy Hynde, another good one, Heaven Sent. So yeah, it's a similar sound to Lullaby, but again, I like well, before I compare these two, I'll just get caught up with the ranking of this later period as far as studio albums, say from working my way up, I'd say Mighty Rearranger, Carry Fire, Band of Joy, and Lullaby. Lullaby, Band of Joy, two really, for me, really enjoyable listens. So lastly, get into his collaboration albums, which have spanned his career. First one being the EP released in '84 between Principle and Shaken and Stirred was the Honey Drippers Volume 1, and his two Jimmy Page collaborations between Fate of Nations and Dreamland was 1994's No Quarter and 1998's Walking into Clarksdale. And then we have his two albums with Alison Krauss, 2007's Raising Sand and 2021's Raise the Roof. So yeah, first off, Honey Drippers Volume 1. Yeah, not sure if it's kind of unclear to me if they intended to make any more volumes or after this one, or if it was one of those gag titles. But yes, being an EP, only has had 5 songs. I Get a Thrill, and of course Sea of Love. That was a big success for him, but apparently he was horrified by that because he didn't want people to think he was a crooner, so he perhaps did his best to shake that image with Shaken and Stirred. Yeah, no pun intended. Well, anyway, I Got a Woman, Young Boy Blues, another good one, a Benny King cover. Rockin' at Midnight, good number. So yeah, overall, good collection of old songs, some of which I wasn't familiar with. I think these were some personal favorites of Ahmet Ertegun, head of the Atlantic Records. Then we have 1994's No Quarter, live effort, filmed, recorded in different locations. Like in '94, people pointed out the irony of the song is called No Quarter, which was a John Paul Jones composition from their, from Houses of the Holy album, but Jones apparently wasn't even told about this, quasi reunion. But you know, that aside, um, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed this because I'm not usually a fan of live music or live albums. They all have this aura of, you know, you had to have been there. But yeah, a lot of good. You know, they cover a lot of good, you know, a lot of Zeppelin material, but a lot of newer material. Got Nobody's Fault But Mine, Thank You, and No Quarter, Friends. You know, good version of Friends with like an orchestra. And then you have Yala and City Don't Cry, just two favorites of mine. Especially I was a long time, that was a big favorite. You know, City Don't Cry was um, Since I've Been Loving You, Zeppelin, Battle of Evermore, Wonderful One, a good newer song. That's the Way, Gallows Pole, Four Sticks, and Cashmere. So mostly Zeppelin with some newer stuff. Eastern flavor. I think a lot of this is like filmed in, you know, Morocco, I believe. Uh, Walking into Clarksdale, I think I remember hearing about this when it was in the works back in '98. The year it came out. So yeah, basically I'll go down the songs even though I don't. Well, yeah, Shining in the Light, When the World Was Young, Once a Golden Horse, Blue Train, Please Read the Letter. We'll see that song a little later. Most High, Heart in Your Hand, Walking into Clarksdale, Burning Up, When I Was a Child, House of Love, Sons of Freedom. Yeah. Um, yeah, again, along with, you know, it's just like Dreamland is the studio album I would probably give up if I had to. You know, this would probably be the same thing for as far as his collaborations. I mean, I won't get too into it. You know, I'll rank them when I'm done with, but you probably know where this might stand in the rankings already. Yeah, a lot of this material is just, I don't know, like a lot of this album just, you know, it's again not bad, but it's not very nothing really stuck with me on this album. You know, as one critic put it, you know, all the ingredients were there with, you know, with Plant and Page and their backing band, but you know, it didn't really come together. So then we have this first of two efforts with Alison Krauss, 2007, Raising Sand. A lot of traditional songs on here, or some covers of newer songs, a lot of good stuff. Rich Woman, Killing the Blues, Sister Rosetta Goes Before Us, Polly Come Home, Gone, 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 Through the Morning, Through the Night, Please Read the Letter. Please Read the Letter. This is a cover of the one song that was on there, that was on the Walking into Clarksdale, in a more covered, you know, done in a more memorable fashion here. Trampled Rose, best song on the album in my opinion. I think a Tom Waits cover. Fortune Teller, Stick With Me Baby, Nothing, Let Your Loss Be Your Lesson, Your Long Journey. Yeah, good. Probably his best. You know, as far as studio collaborations, this would be, you know, right up in there in the rankings. But again, I'll get to that momentarily after his most recent effort to date and collaboration, again with Alison Krauss, Raise the Roof. Which, you know, they covered some of this, did some of this material when I saw them last summer. Quattro, World Drifts In, Price of Love, Go Your Way, Trouble with My Lover, Searching for My Love, Can't Let Go, It Won't Bother Me, You Led Me to the Wrong, Last Kind of Words, Blues, High and Lonesome, Going Where the Lonely Go, and Somebody Was Watching Over Me. Again, you know, not kind of like, again, this is kind of like a Clarksdale and Dreamland, not bad, good effort, good music to it, but again, not as memorable as some of the other stuff. Certainly not compared to, Raising Sand. But yeah, I'll get to the rankings as far as its collaborations. I would have to say, working my way up to the least to most favorite. Walking into Clarksdale, Raise the Roof. I would say Honey Drippers Volume 1. Maybe, I don't know, close tie with No Quarter and Raising Sand, but Raising Sand, if I had to pick one, probably be at the top. So yeah, it's again, so it's harder to rank the albums, all together for me at least. That's why I had to break it down into eras, and and from there separate the collaborations. But so yeah, just over closing, an overview, my favorite from each era, which would be my overall top picks. Be again just my opinions, but yeah, Shaken and Stirred, Fate of Nations, Raising Sand, and Lullaby and the Ceaseless Roar. Some honorable mentions being Band of Joy, No Quarter, and yeah, perhaps Honey Drippers Volume 1. But so yeah, hope I didn't tangent too much. And so yeah, if anybody who finds this video, any feedback, constructive criticism is welcome. Hope you enjoyed it. Share your own opinions. Like to get into discussion. Makes see what everybody else thinks and get some discussion going. But so thanks for watching, and stay tuned for any future videos. Just kind of playing with different subject matters right now. So and thanks, and hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your day.